everyone, Big Mike here, and it's time for another tutorial. This time we're taking you through Maid, the role-playing game. In Maid, you play a young, maybe attractive, possibly, and loyal, occasionally, servant to a master, who in this case, the game master himself. And throughout the game, you have to perform all sorts of fun and exciting tasks ranging from taking out the laundry to stopping a cult from kidnapping your master. Now, everything in this system is determined entirely by D6 rolls, from what stats you have to what your outfit looks like to even your personality as a maid. Everything is just randomly generated rolls. First off, the attributes. For each of the 6 attributes, athletics, affection, skill, cunning, luck, and will, you roll 2d6 and divide that number by 3, rounding down. That is the core of your character entirely mechanically. There's no skill rolls of any kind to add to that. It's just those 6 attributes. And a couple of derived values, which we're about to cover. After that, you roll to determine your personality, the color of your maid outfit, any special qualities you might have, ranging from whether or not you wear glasses to if you can be magical in some way, your own origin story, and what happens when you accumulate too much stress. Stress in this game is the closest thing it has to actual damage. But rather than when you take too much stress, rather than dying, you actually have a type of a trigger mechanism that makes you react a certain way. And it ranges from sitting in a corner and crying, to running off and gambling away your money that the master gave you, to all sorts of different conditions depending on what you, again, randomly roll. The amount of stress that you can tolerate is known as your spirit, and it's your will stat times 10. Each maid, additionally, has a special power that's determined by their strongest attribute, and yep, you gotta roll for it. The entire objective of the game is to gain favor from the master. As you do tasks ranging from taking in laundry to saving the master from certain death, you earn favor, and you can spend this favor to either raise your stats or generate your own random rolls for what happens. Now in the game, all events that happen are again from a random table that you roll so many d6s for. The GM determines nothing except maybe your starting scenario, and he rolls, and you just gotta deal with whatever he comes up with. And sometimes he can roll and actually change the setting of the game you're in, from a cutesy high school kind of situation to, oh, the apocalypse happened. Naturally, in order to do anything as a maid, you have to pass a difficulty check of some kind. In this case, you roll a d6 and multiply it by the relevant attribute that you have. So if you want to climb over a fence, that would be athletics, depending on what you feel is best for the situation, what the GM agrees to. That number has to just be the GM's difficulty check, and that's it. In order to actually do something as a maid, you take a d6 and multiply it by the appropriate attribute depending on what the task is. Like, say if you have to make an athletics check to lift something heavy off the master or something like that. Now, if you beat that GM's difficulty check, you succeed and you're awarded the favor we mentioned earlier, which you can spend however you want as the game goes forward. Now, anytime you and an opposing player or NPC are going up against each other for any reason, even if it's like maybe trying to seduce someone or try to just show who has the stronger will or something like that, and even across different attributes, that counts as combat. Basically simple as any other. You have an attacker, you have a defender. If the attacker's result is stronger than the defender's result, they win the encounter. Now, in order to collect damage, or as we've said, stress, you take that number, that final number, the dice roll multiplied by their attribute, and divide it by the stat, or the attribute, that you were defending with. That is the amount of stress you take. If you go over that stress, you get your stress break happening. And you are stuck in there for as long as you have stress you've accumulated in total. So sometimes it's better to have a lower limit because you just cycle through it that much faster. Now, NPCs don't have a stress explosion for when they accumulate too much stress. If they hit their stress limit, they're either knocked out or they die, depending on what happened to them. And that's the system. It's actually really simple and a lot of fun if you're looking for a quick pick up and play kind of game. And thank you very much for enjoying this tutorial. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time we play Maid or any other D20 Live tutorial. Until then, thank you very much. Bye!